The number of times that we've all heard phrases such as, if you don't love yourself, how the hell are you gonna love somebody else?
If you can't love yourself, how in the you're gonna love somebody else?
Or if you don't love yourself, how the hell do you expect love from others? Or even something as simple as, self-love is the foundation of all happiness. And while I agree with all of this, and I think those are very beautiful messages, what does self-love actually mean? What does it entail? And what does it look like? And how does one get to this perpetual, unconditionally self-loving state? I'll share my answer with you in a moment, but first, let's look at what it means to love another. When we think of self-love, I think a lot of us imagine this perpetual, ideal state of constant adoration for ourselves.
Who's that handsome guy? Hello, 911 emergency. There's a handsome guy in my house. Oh, wait a second, cancel that. It's only me. Oh, you drive me wild.
When you think about the love that you have for others and the people that you truly love in your life, you realize that that's not it. To love yourself does not mean to like yourself 24/7, because you don't like everything about anyone 24/7, 365 days a year. That's just not healthy. That being said, the evidence that you actually love these people is made very clear once you compare them to strangers or even acquaintances. The main difference is that when one of your loved ones, and I'm talking about the people in your closest circle, asks you for something, it can be time, energy, presence, comfort, attention, a favor, you immediately try to make it work and you don't even think twice about it. It doesn't bother you or surprise you. But when the same demands come from someone from outside your closest circle, suddenly it gets a lot harder. And by the way, that is completely normal, and thank God that's the case, because otherwise we would all be very burnt out. The point here is that to achieve self-love, if you feel like you're lacking still in it in some way and you want to move towards it, the most successful method is to first reframe your idea of what self-love is. You need to reframe it and understand self-love more as a behavior or as a set of actions. It's the action of showing up. It's the action of using your precious and limited time and energy to make sure that you feel good and secure. And so coming back to the quote at the beginning, it makes a lot more sense, right? If you don't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love anybody else? Similarly, I'd like you to think about this quote. If you don't respect, nor love, nor believe in yourself, how the heck do you expect that from others? That's very audacious of you. Would you befriend yourself? Would you date yourself? Would you hire yourself? Unless the answer is yes, I'm sorry, but you have no business even desiring that from other people. And what I'm saying might sound harsh, but I'm just saying it because that was me and I didn't even know it. I hated myself. I didn't believe in myself in any way. I didn't take care of myself at all. Actually, quite the opposite. But yet, here I was desperately wishing that people would give me love, respect, compliments, and even offer me opportunities. And the worst part is that even if sometimes I did get those things from people, it didn't feel as good and it never really gave me what I thought I wanted. Because for all of these things that I just cited, unless you give them to yourself first, no one's gonna give you exactly what you need. You just cannot love someone enough for it to replace their self-hatred. They have to work on it. Because if you currently don't love yourself, it's probably because you have a lot of deep-rooted beliefs, negative beliefs about yourself and society and the world. But the good news is that those are no more than that, beliefs. And you can even think those beliefs because they really did help you. They were kind of an emergency protection at a time where you didn't have more tools, maturity, and strength to do so. But remember that the only constant is change. These previously protective beliefs and survival mechanisms have now become dysfunctional and destructive. They were only meant to help you in this crisis emergency situation for a very short time. And that is why holding on to them in the long term, because it's not what they were supposed to do, it's actually holding you back and hurting you a lot more than it's helping you or even protecting you. And despite popular belief, what I've realized is that in the end, it doesn't really matter how you were taught these stories that told you that you weren't a good person, or you didn't deserve to be a priority, or that you shouldn't even bother trying. Because if you learn a little bit about the wonders of neuroplasty, you'll see that no matter what age you are, it is never too late to reinvent yourself and learn 100 things that you never thought that you'd be able to, and form new neural pathways in your brain. So, how do you get to the point where you respect, love, and fully believe in yourself? Through self-love, where love is an action, meaning that you show up in some way every single day and do things that are either good for you or that you want to do. For instance, I've had a rough past couple of days, or even 10 days, honestly. I just don't feel as motivated and optimistic as I usually do. And in particular, out of those 10 days, there were 1 or 2 days that were really pretty awful because of some things that just happened because of life. And on those days when I got home, all I wanted to do was order a bunch of junk food and just lie down and doom scroll on social media for 4 hours in a row. Honestly, I just didn't want to be there, so I wanted to consume as much brain rot as possible. I mean, I think we've all been there. But the twist here is that I did not do that because I have been working on my self-love, where self-love is an action, and I've been showing up for myself. And also, I had planned on filming this video, so I had already written about it. And so when this rough patch came into my life, I told myself it was a perfect opportunity to put it to the test. And so what I did is that I sat down, literally here, I think, at my desk, and I was like, okay, girl, listen, it's rough right now. You've had a day. So I'm not gonna ask you to be productive or social or do the most. But I'm also not gonna let you do anything that's gonna make you feel objectively worse. So I decided to compromise and meet myself in the middle and do only things that were kind of good for me, but that I also really enjoyed. For instance, I remember I stretched while listening to one of my favorite podcasts that I find really comforting and fun. So I did like 30 minutes of really gentle stretches. I love stretching, but you can do whatever you want. And then I decided to read this story that I really like for about 30 minutes. Then I actually scrolled on social media, I think YouTube Shorts, for like 20 minutes. Then I jumped in the shower and I took a nice long hot shower, and I put some music on my little speaker, lo-fi hip hop beats to study, relax to. If you know, you know. Then I decided to journal because I realized in the shower that I kept ruminating about the events of my day, the negative events of my day. And so after my shower, I just sat down with some more music and I just decided to journal about how awful my day was. And that felt, at the end of that journaling session, I felt like I had just cleansed myself of the negative events of the day. So I really recommend that if you have something on your mind. If you just keep ruminating about something, just write it down. Biggest tip. And then I ended my day. I made a really nice fried rice and I watched some anime. And by the time I went to bed, I actually felt good, which was unthinkable to me for the longest time, and which wouldn't have happened until quite recently. Because with the type of events that had happened that day, I feel like I would just be in bed just thinking about it. And that didn't happen at all. So I went to bed, I felt really good, and I noticed that I felt really good. And I reminded myself that it was thanks to me, and I felt really good about that too. And thanks to the fact that every time I encounter obstacles and negative feelings, etc., I always show up for myself, I can now confirm with absolute certainty and peace of mind that I love myself I don't even know how much, like 100 times more than I did even a year ago. By the way, self-love can also be through you starting to implement some good habits slowly but surely. And while it's not easy to do so, especially if you want to start implementing several good habits, there's definitely ways in which it can be easier. And if you want, I made a couple of videos on that subject, so the link will be in the description if you want. Now we know that self-love is an action and it's being present and showing up for yourself. It's a behavior, but I would like to leave you with 2 big reminders. Firstly, as a guide, if you don't really know which actions are self-love and which ones aren't, something that really helps me is to make sure that my actions are motivated by love. And when I say love, it's especially as opposed to fear. And in particular, the fear of not being enough. So if you're doing something because you feel like you're not enough, that's not self-love. It has to come from a place of you kind of wanting to be a cheerleader for yourself and you being like, I know you want this, even though maybe it's a little bit effortful, but I know you want this and I know you want to be better at this, so let's do this.
And for the people at home, this cannot be overstated. Hobbies prevent suicide.
But yeah, it can't come from a place of, oh, I'm not enough at this, blah, 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 because that's not really about what you want or what's good for you. And what can help you differentiate between the two is, once again, journaling, but also maybe try imagining that it's you and someone else. That always helps with all those types of self-love, self-confidence, and self-concepts. And number 2 is something that's also going to help you with number 1, but it's to really focus on you. And I say this because there's so much information online on what the perfect morning routine is or what the perfect diet is, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, focus on you right now. And at all times, you just have to ask yourself, what does my body, my brain, and my soul need right now? And trust me, something that you're going to realize, and it was a beautiful surprise to me, is that the more you focus on really listening to yourself, the more you're going to see that there's actually a really beautiful balance between what you want and what you need. And especially the more you will show up for yourself repeatedly, the more your wants and needs are going to coincide. And that is when you're going to know that you love yourself and that self-love comes naturally to you. And by that point, you'll be really happy because you'll realize, wow, I can actually say with confidence that I would befriend myself and I would hire myself now. And remember that, like I said, it's not about liking everything about yourself all the time, head to toe, inside out, 24/7, 365 days a week, a year, 7 days a week. Actually, and this is true for all of your relationships, but also with the one with yourself, it's in the lowest times, the times where everything is not easy, breezy, beautiful, that you're really going to see how much you love yourself. Unconditional self-love is unwavering presence. It's having your back at all times. It's showing up for yourself. It's patience and it's trust. So start giving yourself all of these things slowly but surely, as much as you can. And you'll actually see that the world will naturally also reflect those things back to you. All right, that's all for today. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Please take plenty of time for yourself, plenty of care, and I'll see you very, very soon in the next video. Bye.